Wonders. How's everybody today? Hope you all had a good weekend. Just getting my apron on. Don't want to get flour all over me today because today we're baking. You usually see me over in my little desk area, but today we're in my kitchen. So welcome to my kitchen. Hi, Moira. Hi, Randy. Thanks for being here. We're going to do some baking today. We're making cookies. So I'm glad you're here to hang out with me. So I'm going to give people a chance to filter in, and then we'll get going. I have the recipe here. And what I'll do is after the show today, I'll copy and paste the recipe into the comments or into the description so that you guys can make them too if you want. It's my mom's recipe, my mom's ginger cookies, with a little twist. We're actually using Candied Ginger. So I'll show you once they're out of the bag too, but they're like a hard candy kind of ginger, and they just add a little extra like spiciness to these cookies, and they're so good. I can't bake and chew gum at the same time. I appreciate you, Malta. Well, we'll see. This is my first time doing this, so we'll see how this works out. My plan is that the cookies are going to take about 10 minutes in the oven. So during that 10 minutes, I have a couple new decks that I got. So I thought I would show you guys those decks and maybe do some readings if that time works out. I woke up in bliss. Now you're baking cookies. How does it get better than this, right? Too bad there's not smell-o-vision, though. Yeah, somebody needs to invent smell-o-vision already so you guys can smell this. All right, so I already have the oven preheating because it does take a little bit of time. So I got that. I'll get my cookie sheets down. My friends always complain that my kitchen's too tall, but that's okay. I'm a tall person, so it's my kitchen. Apparently I did not clean this cookie sheet the last time I used it. That's all right. All right, so the important thing with baking cookies or with baking in general is you want to split your dry and wet ingredients. So I'm going to put together the dry ingredients first. I got all of my measuring cups and measuring spoons over here. I also already got my cutting board. Yeah, I'm glad you're here because my plan is to, like, why I'm baking, guys, if you have any questions, like if you know any burning questions you've been wanting to ask me, go ahead and post those questions. I'm happy to answer them. Yeah, Taste Edition. Oh, yeah. I'm going to FedEx you guys all a cookie after. Moira, I could actually probably get you cookies. You're more local, but too bad there wasn't instant teleportation for cookies, right? So I have a mixing bowl here. So this is what I'm going to put my dry ingredients in. And then the wet ingredients, I'm actually going to use a KitchenAid. So I have a KitchenAid mixer back there. I'll actually probably bring the laptop. I'm on the laptop today. I'll bring the laptop closer once I go and do the wet ingredients. But yeah, I have some new decks, which I'm super excited about. I actually already used them. If you guys tuned into the spa readings on Sunday that I did with Gerald, I used both decks with those readings. I'll show you them again today because they're super nice. I might actually even do a deck review with them at some point. Oh, you're working on teleportation. Awesome. Let me know when you have it set up. All right, so the ingredients. Of course, I ended up getting the recipe wet. Oh, my luck. I may actually end up reverting to my iPad because I do have a picture of the recipe on here because I did send it to myself earlier today. Let's see here. This is the issue with live shows. Gotta be flexible for whatever happens. All right. There we go. Cookies. Cookie recipe. There we go. All right. So first thing we're going to do is our flour. So it's all-purpose flour. Hi, Rossi. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to stir in the magic. Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's the whole point, right? Actually, you guys might have seen this already, but a friend made me this. So it says kitchen witch. So it's a cutting board, but it hangs on my wall because it has pride of place. Yeah. Definitely lots of magic and lots of love. All right, yay, Maria, you were there, weren't you? Thanks for tuning in, by the way. That was a lot of fun. Gerald and I had never read together before that point, which surprised me. And I think it went really, really well. And we're going to do it again in December, so I'm excited. I know, right? It was because I was doing the dishes right before I was doing this. And so, of course, forgot that there was water on the counter and put the recipe down, which is just paper. Oh, Rossi, we're making ginger cookies. So everybody voted in the community tab what they wanted me to make, and the cookies won. I actually have a soup recipe too, so depending on how much time these cookies take, I might be making some soup as well. But if not, I do have already planned, I think in January, another one of these cooking episodes. So we might just make the soup then, or some other recipe if you guys want to try a different recipe. I'm also working on making some bread pudding. So I actually have bread kind of going stale, and I'm going to make some bread pudding at some point as well, using up ingredients. So anyway, so 4 cups of all-purpose flour. So I'm going to get my measuring cup. I don't know if I'm going to have enough flour, but I do have another bag of flour ready to go if I don't have enough. Now, one of the things that my mom taught me, she was teaching me how to bake growing up with flour, and especially with baking, you want to be exact with your measurements. It's kind of like chemistry. So with your flour, you don't want to have a heaping cup of flour. You want to actually have it even. So I always use a knife. So you're going to use the flat side of the knife, and you're going to just go across the top of the cup and make sure that it's even. So there you go. See how you got an even cup of flour. There's one. Everybody help me keep track, but it's one of them. It's 1 cup. And I'm probably going to need the other bag of flour. That's okay. There's 2. And if you're not making a mess, you're not baking, right? Oh yeah. My mom has tried some gluten-free baking. I haven't yet, but I know there's a bit more chemistry involved with the gluten-free baking. Yes, you can. Yeah, that's true, Moira. Yeah, you can make breakfast casseroles too with stale bread. But yeah, I've been craving sweets lately, so I'm like, I'm gonna make bread pudding because I also the other thing I need to use up is I have too much. My parents are away right now for a little bit, and so I have some of their milk I need to use up, and so bread pudding also uses a bunch of milk and eggs. So I just thought it would be the perfect recipe to use up the ingredients. There's 3 and 1 more. This is the only thing with doing this live and chatting to you guys while I'm doing this is trying to remember to keep count of how many cups of flour I put in. Getting to the bottom of my flour. That's okay. As I said, I had an extra bag ready just in case, but it looks like we're going to have enough. And there's 4. Ta-da! Yes, rice pudding too. Yeah, rice pudding's a weird thing for me. I don't like the consistency of it. But yeah, so what we do is we buy really big bags of flour at like Costco and stuff, and then my mom vacuum packs it. So she has little like bags of flour that I'm going to be able to top up later. So 2 teaspoons of baking soda is what's next. So I need 2 teaspoons. That's a half a teaspoon. I need a full teaspoon, please, and thank you. There's a teaspoon. All right. So turn up the brightness on my iPad here. 2 teaspoons of baking soda. So this baking soda, just your run-of-the-mill baking soda. And yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them, about me, about life, what I do, any of that fun stuff. I don't know if you guys would have seen, but I'm actually starting a business in the new year. I am a Reiki master, a certified Reiki master. And so yeah, I decided to start my business. I have a website that I'm creating. I'm going to be able to offer Reiki distance as well as in person. And I may offer card readings and stuff like that too at some point. Right, Rossi? Yeah. I mean, if there's any way you can save some money, just vacuum pack it and it lasts for forever. Oh, yes. Randy, always cinnamon. And there's actually cinnamon in the cookies today. So definitely lots of cinnamon. No candles yet. I have the stuff to make candles, but I will make candles at some point, I think, with like crystals in them and stuff. But I think that'll be a little bit down the road yet. Oh, did you, Randy? What did you think of it? What did you think of the Reiki treatment? Like, how did you find it? I always like to hear people's feedback on what they think of it. Because of course, I'm a Reiki master, but I also get Reiki done on myself. Tanis, my teacher, I will see her at least once a month, and she typically will do some Reiki on me. So next we're doing 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Yeah, 2 teaspoons. Basically 2 teaspoons of everything. As I said, and yeah, I said right at the beginning, but I'll post the recipe afterwards in the description. So you guys can make these yourself if you want. So there's 1 and 2, and these are all going into a bowl together. So all the dry ingredients are going into a bowl, and then they'll eventually get mixed with the wet ingredients. 2 teaspoons of ginger. So in this case, when we're baking, it's not the ginger root, it's ground ginger, so like powdered. So ground ginger. I'm going to have to pour this out, so this is going to get a little bit messy because I can't get the container or the spoon in the container, but that's okay. Just do it over the sink. There's 1. And it's going to fight with me. There we go. And 2. And Rossi, there really is no pressure. I just found that it felt like the right thing to do. I just felt the calling to do it. And so, yeah, but I'm taking my time doing it too. Like I got my master's, in April, and I'm only really thinking about getting it going in January. So there really is no pressure, no rush at all. Oh, you did, Moira? That's awesome. When is that? In January, when I'm doing my business launch, that first or second week of January, I'm actually going to be doing some Reiki that night for everybody. So you're welcome to join, because one of the things I'm going to do is basically have us all kind of be in a circle and share energy, because we did that in class the other day and it worked so well. Even though we're all distance, even though we're all virtual, the energy was still felt. It was a pretty amazing experience. Well, that's awesome, Randy. The session was fantastic. I love feeling like I'm floating. Yes. Yeah, that's the best part of it, isn't it? Just that feeling of full relaxation. You love cinnamon, but you're allergic. Oh no! Oh no, that's not good. Yeah, but Randy asked what's the resistance, and yeah, going public. Yeah, it is a little bit nerve-wracking because there's a lot of stuff you have to consider, like insurance and everything like that. If you're taking, members of the public, like right now, I've just been doing family and friends. But yeah, as soon as you take anybody that's not kind of a family or a friend, you have to get insurance and everything, and that's actually the part that I'm kind of stressing over right now. And actually looking for some guidance on is like, what coverage do I need and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not easy for sure to get going, but once you do, I think, it gets a little bit easier. Well, that's interesting, Moira. You substitute cardamom for the cinnamon. I'd have to try that. So Rossi, if you did it distance, you wouldn't have to worry about insurance or anything, and you could still offer that to everybody. But yeah, no pressure. No pressure at all. All right. So we added cinnamon, we added ginger, and now I need to add clove. So I went to the nearest bulk food store and got some clove. So clove is very, very strong. You don't need a lot, typically in cooking. A lot of the spices we're using today would be the same you put in like pumpkin pie or apple pie. It's that kind of fall spice. Insurance is just a money grab from the state in your perspective. Yeah. I mean, but it also protects you if somebody decides to sue you because they trip going up your stairs or something like that. So it's it's a little bit of a protection in that regard anyway for a business. But yeah, it's all to take into consideration. So I'm adding the clove, and the clove, oh my gosh, it's so strong. My entire cupboard smelled like it up till yesterday. There we go. That's the clove. I'm going to put a label back on it so I remember what it is. And I'm going to toss it in my spice cupboard. There we go. All right. And then it says gently combine these ingredients in a bowl and set aside. So I'm just going to use my spoon that I was using with the flour, and I'm going to just mix it up. Stir it together. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Smells delicious. Yeah, do you guys have any questions for me? Anything at all? Yeah, that is very true, Rossi. That's where the problem lies for sure. There we go. So I've just mixed everything together in a bowl. So it's just all incorporated. So we're going to set that aside. All right. So the next thing we're going to do. Now, do I leave the KitchenAid there or do I bring it over here? That is the question. Let me see. I think I can probably clear some counter space here. And I'll move it over here. That way you guys can see what I'm doing. So give me a second to reorganize here. I'm going to take a sip while I do that. I have my kettle, but I'm just going to move my kettle out of the way for why we're doing this. Put away my dishes I've been avoiding putting away. Actually, it's just all my water bottles. Actually, this is a great water bottle. I got it off of the Amazon, as they say, but it has crystals in the bottom of it. So the crystals go through the glass and into the water and power the water, which is kind of cool. It actually gets kind of almost bubbly or like effervescent, which is kind of interesting. All right. Kettle is plugged in on the top one. There we go. I'm a mess, I tell ya. There we go. All right. out of the way for the moment. And I'm going to grab my KitchenAid. Now, of course, you could just use a hand mixer, but I like my KitchenAid. It makes things a little bit easier. Less work for me anyway. And we're going to use this hook. So we're going to use this mixing blade if you have a KitchenAid. This is the one I'm going to use. It's best for dough. I don't know. Yeah, you guys should see. You can see that okay, right? You can see that? My KitchenAid. I take responsibility for myself. I know I can't drive right after. Oh, yeah. You need a little bit of time to ground, that's for sure. You spent today organizing your herb and spice jars. It was such a mess, but looks awesome now. Ooh, that sounds good. Yeah, I need to probably do the same with my spice cupboard. I can never find what I'm looking for. Take inventory of what I have. Ooh, I would wish I could get to a beach. Yeah, I'm kind of in the, well, not in the middle of the country, but I'm in Ontario, so the closest beaches we have are lakes, not oceans, but oh, that sounds lovely. All right, so we're going to do our wet ingredients now. So the wet ingredients, which I've always found interesting with baking, is wet ingredients always include sugar. So even though sugar is theoretically a dry ingredient, it actually goes with the wet stuff. So this is sugar, just plain white sugar. Yeah, very true, Maria. Once you're cleaning a hand mixer, you might as well clean the KitchenAid. But if you can do it by hand, you will. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, baking is kind of an art. I know, like, my dad can make muffins, but that's about it. I've thankfully inherited my mom's baking gene. My mom's, baked my entire life, and I helped her with baking. So kind of just goes hand in hand, actually. I also love to cook. Actually, it's kind of how I show love. That's why I call myself a kitchen witch, is I bake for friends all the time and constantly I'm bringing them food. Yeah, so we're going to do 2 cups of white sugar into this bowl here, because we're eventually going to add all those dry ingredients we mixed together. We're going to actually put them into the KitchenAid as well eventually. I'm going to use that spoon again just to top up my measuring cup here. Now you're thinking, oh, 2 cups of sugar is a lot of sugar, but this is going to make a lot of cookies. So, and I mean, it's not fun if it's not full of sugar, right? It's not dessert anyway. But yeah, the soup I was going to make is gazpacho, so it's like a cold vegetable soup. So if you don't have time today, I'm definitely going to probably make it in the new year when I have the next cooking show that I'm going to do. Just because it is my favorite go-to soup. I've been eating it since I was a baby. It's so easy to whip up, and it's a great way to get vegetables. Like, especially myself, I don't like eating salad. So it's such an easy way to get your vegetables, and it's nice and healthy, and you can kind of eat it anytime, make it as spicy as you want. So yeah, it's just a great soup, honestly. All right, so 2 cups of sugar. And then we're going to add Crisco. So I don't know, I think you guys still have Crisco, or I think you guys have Crisco in the States. But it's shortening. It's a plant-based shortening. So I'm going to open that up, and it just makes the consistency of the cookie a bit different than if you used like a butter or margarine. And it calls for 1.5 cups. And it looks what's really nice about these packages is they know that you're going to be baking. So they actually have like measurements on them. So I don't know if you can see there. It actually has the little like cup measurements so you can measure it, which is super nifty and super handy. So I need, what did it say, a cup and a half. All right. And I'm just going to get a sharp knife to do this with. So I can just cut right through the packaging. Oh, cool, Rossi. Gonna scroll back here for a second. Did you get to see Hershey, or were you just in the same area? That's so cool. Last Sunday. Oh yeah, because she went on a cruise or something, didn't she? She went on a cruise. You live in Arkansas. I know how to pronounce it properly. I know it's not Arkansas, it's Arkansas. Oh yes, Randy. I loved Utah. I got so when I was in university, I had the opportunity to go to Salt Lake City, and we went out into the desert and followed wild horses for a week. So I got to go out and watch the horses, which was amazing. All right, so there's our cup measurement. And then I need my half a cup measurement here. There we go. And then you can actually freeze the rest. So I'm going to, after we're done here, I'm going to freeze that so I can use it in another recipe if need be. But for now, we're going to unwrap this. So this is a cup and a half of Crisco. And the other thing I'm going to do is just cut it up a little bit so it blends easier. Yeah, RV traveling. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. Actually, one of my goals is to RV across Canada. So like start on the East Coast and go all the way to the West Coast. Oh, that would be nice. I love seeing waterfalls. When we went to Alaska on a cruise, and that was my favorite part of that entire thing, was seeing all the gorgeous waterfalls. I grew so much zucchini this summer. Uh-oh. Yep. Yeah. That's the best thing to do is zucchini. Well, that's awesome. That's good. I'm hoping to maybe get down to the States at some point and meet all the YouTubers that are down in the States. I don't know if you guys heard about the retreat in Sedona that a bunch of the YouTubers went to. I'm hoping maybe to get to the one that's going to be in May. Save up my pennies and go, but we'll see what happens. So I'm just cutting the Crisco up into blocks just so it's easier for the KitchenAid to blend. I gotta throw this in the garbage and wash my hands. Because who wants shortening all over their hands? I don't. All right. So it says in a large bowl, beat these two ingredients to light and fluffy. So we're gonna do light and fluffy. All right. Now this might be a little bit noisy. We'll see how it goes. You guys let me know how loud, if it's too loud or not. How is that for everybody? Is that okay? And of course, the other thing you're going to want is a spatula because everything gets stuck. Everything will get stuck on the blade. So you just want to make sure that everything gets mixed properly and thoroughly. So I'm going to just knock this down and get it going there. There we go. Light and fluffy, please, KitchenAid. Yeah, the plan in my head is to maybe see if I can fly down to like or fly to like Idaho or something and then carpool with maybe JJ or somebody like that. Actually, so coming up, so the next show after this one, so in 2 weeks, JJ from Tuta Speaks is going to be on. So we're going to have a bunch of fun that night. So you guys come please hang out with us for the hour. And then the first show in December, we're going to have Michelle Marie from Astrological Tarot on to talk about Vedic astrology, which is going to be a really interesting show. There's just so much to know. And then we have our Yule show. So we are going to talk about Yule and how it compares to Christmas, the traditions that are the same. And I have a couple of guests that are going to be on that Yule show. So I'm super, super excited for that. Just going to turn this up so we can fluff it. We're going to fluff it. Oh, yeah, me too. I don't like peas. There we go. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but it is light and fluffy. It kind of looks almost like icing, like an icing consistency, like a buttercream icing. Again, not making a mess. You're not baking. Getting it all over the countertop and all over my laptop. Oh no. Clean up as we go here. There we go. I mean, it's just on the power cord, but you know. All right. I'm just going to bring everything off the side of the bowl. If I really had all the technology, I'd have one of those cameras facing down on the top of the bowl so you could see inside it, but I'm not that tech savvy yet. All right. There we go. All right, next step. Next step, I think, is our eggs is what we're going to add. So what does it say? Oh, molasses and eggs. Yeah. So this recipe calls for molasses. So this is fancy molasses. This is President's Choice. Like the brand is just the store brand molasses here. So as long as you want just the regular fancy molasses for baking. Ooh, yeah, I love Thai. I can't do spicy, but I do like pho. Pho is like one of my favorite things to eat. Ooh, and tattoos. Yeah. Every so often I think about getting a tattoo, but then I don't. I don't know. My argument with myself is I don't love anything enough to get it permanently put on my body. Don't know what that says about me. All right. So we're going to do half a cup of molasses. So there's a third of a cup, half a cup. Half a cup. And I'm going to get a tiny little spatula out here. So I have a little tiny spatula just because molasses can be very sticky. So we're going to do half a cup of molasses. Ooh, look at that go. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's very liquidy. Ooh. All right. Into the bowl. And then I'm going to use a spatula just to get the rest of it out. Oh, it smells so good. We're more or less making gingerbread, honestly. It's a little bit different than gingerbread, but more or less gingerbread. Same flavor profiles and everything. There we go. So there's our molasses. I'm going to just clean off the side here. Want to make sure that it gets all mixed in thoroughly. There we go. And I'll put that back in the cupboard when we're done here. I don't think I've tried that Thai. My go-to place is the Canada Noodle House, which is out in the West End. They're my go-to, but no, I'll have to try that. You know, I don't tend to go downtown a lot, so maybe that's why. But and yeah, so pho, I like pad thai. Pad thai I have to watch though, because as I said, I don't can't really eat spicy stuff. So I really have to watch. But no, I'll try that coriander Thai. That sounds really good. So yeah, to the molasses, we're going to add 2 eggs. So I'm going to grab the eggs from the fridge. Grabbing my eggs. These are just large eggs, large size. Oh no, they closed. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, not a lot of business downtown anymore. So yeah, just 2 eggs there. I'm gonna put the other eggs back in the fridge. I'm gonna have a sip here for a second. I just have some chocolate milk. A little treat for myself. Here in Ontario, we have a grocery store called Farm Boy, and they make, in my opinion, the best chocolate milk. So I always get it when it's on sale as a little treat for myself. Because why not, right? Even as adults, we got to spoil ourselves every so often and make that inner child happy. All right. So we're going to add the eggs. This is the messy bit. 2 eggs. And what it says here too in the recipe, it says add eggs 1 at a time to incorporate evenly. So that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to just add 1 at a time like it says, because we're going to follow a recipe. Not everybody does, but I'm going to follow the recipe. All right. Oh. There we go. There's 1. And you can always crack, if you're worried about like eggshells, you can always crack these into a cup first. And then that way you can make sure there's no eggshells. All right. Let that mix. And then what are we going to do after that? A cup of candied ginger. So the recipe also says that you can use some of the white sugar to roll the cookies in. We never do. It has enough sugar in it, honestly. So I don't roll it in the extra sugar. All right. So that's nice and combined. Oh yeah. Here, I'll hold up a little bit of it to the camera so you can see it's a really, really nice, like creamy consistency there. So that's great. That's perfect. So before I add the dry ingredients, I'm going to cut up the candied ginger that we're going to add in. And the reason I do that is because the baking soda that we're using as the rising agent or the leavening agent is going to react with the sugar and the eggs and everything and start the rising process. So I don't want it to start until we're ready to basically scoop them and stick them in the oven. So I'm just going to leave this sitting here for 2 seconds while we do that. How are we doing on time? Oh, only been half an hour. We're okay. We're doing good for time. The cookies will only take about 10 minutes each, so this might run a little bit longer than a normal show, longer than the hour, but we'll see. Well, Moira, if you want. Yeah, because, it contributes to the texture. I can maybe do a half and half. I'll do, a few with the sugar and then a few without. We can do that. And that way you can see the difference. You get eggshells every time. Yeah, I didn't get them this time. I usually will watch and like scoop them out with a spoon if I need to, but oh really, Rossi? Yeah. I've never worried about it unless the recipe said, specified. I've never had issues, but it would definitely be something to try and see. Sure, I'll try it, Moira. Since you asked so nicely, I will try with the sugar. Oh, thanks, Randy. Yeah, I know this is a little bit different than my normal shows, but I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We needed a little bit of downtime today. I had a bit of a day. I had a bit of a stressful day, so baking for me is therapy. So I'm glad you guys are hanging out with me while I do this. I really do appreciate it. We can't be all party all the time, right? All right, I'm gonna throw that in the sink. This is it. Try and keep myself tidy here. So this is Candied Ginger. Again, I got it at a bulk store, a local bulk food store. I feel like you could probably get it in the grocery store. I don't know if I think you can get it year round. I'd assume you can get it year round. Maybe health food stores too might have it. And there's a couple different types. This type is without sulfur or sulfites. So they're ginger and they're just like little rounds of ginger. So we're going to cut them up we're going to dice them. And it calls for a cup of candied ginger. So I have a 1 cup measuring cup here that I'm going to fill with the cut up ginger. I'm going to grab a knife here. Big knife. All right. Oh, good. Okay, thanks, Rossi. Yeah, so you can get candied ginger at the grocery store. Perfect. So yeah, we the recipe technically you can make it without the candied ginger in it. But it just adds something to the cookies. Anybody I've ever given these cookies to absolutely loves them. So the chunks I'm kind of cutting them into, I don't know if you can see. They're just little tiny chunks. So I almost like as if you're like dicing an onion, that kind of size. So what else have you guys been up to lately? I mean, I've been pretty busy with my day job. Nothing too interesting happening lately here, but I'd love to hear what you guys are up to. Yeah, it's candied ginger is so nice. It depends if you really like ginger or not. That's you get that little burn from it, a little spiciness from it, which is nice. Paying attention so I don't cut my fingers, because we don't want that. We don't want any injuries, right? No injuries on YouTube today. Oh, that's fun. You should try it, Moira. Yeah, you should try it with the candied ginger. It's so good. And your puppy had a play date. That's exciting. Did it go well? Are you still able to do a little bit of gardening, Moira? I know we finally got some frost. I know it's finally gotten kind of cold here. Yeah, we're here. I live in Ontario, so about an hour from the U.S. border. But it still really it's November and it really still hasn't gotten that cold. It's getting kind of below freezing at night, but during the day it's still warm. We've not even gotten any of the white stuff yet. I keep complaining because I want to be able to wear my sweaters and stuff like that, and it's been too warm to wear a sweater. One of the other things I typically do when I'm baking is I'll either be watching YouTube or having some music playing. So I'll dance while I'm baking. It's all part of that kind of therapy. And what's nice is that, the baking for me is therapy, but then also being able to give it to people and see the smiles on their faces, when they taste the cookies. And as Randy said, there's love in there, so they get to taste the love as well. And a lot of people, I think, don't bake anymore. So to have homemade cookies doesn't happen very often anymore. Oh gosh. Your puppy is 17 pounds, but her friend is over 70. Oh gosh, I bet. That's funny. No, I'm not. Yeah, I complain, but I don't. You just put the garden to bed for the winter. Yeah. My mom used to buy ginger cookies that look like. Oh yes, yeah. They're like a Dutch gingerbread cookie. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about there, Rossi. So yeah, these are a bit different. These are going to be a bit softer. So the recipe, when I post it, you'll actually see it has different cooking times. So the oven's set at 350 Fahrenheit. But depending on how long you cook them, either makes them a softer or a harder cookie. So I cook them for the shorter amount of time because I prefer a chewier cookie. So more along the lines of like a ginger molasses cookie, which is more or less what this is. But yeah, I prefer more chew than like a hard crusty cookie or like your standard gingerbread. All right, we're almost there. Cup's about halfway full right now, so you guys can see my ginger all cut up in there. Well, that's a good question, Moira. Do I consciously add intention while baking? Yeah, a lot of the time I do, especially if I'm making it for like friends or family or coworkers. I'll definitely, put that love into it. Or, for example, I made banana bread one time, and I knew I was going to be giving it to some friends that were doing a conference, a holistic fair, where they were going to be around a lot of people the entire day. So I actually put kind of intention into it that it would give them energy. And I actually did some Reiki on it. So I actually drew, before I baked it in the oven, I actually drew a Reiki symbol into the top of the bread and put Reiki into it before I baked it. Which is kind of, almost playing with your food a little bit. I've also done it where I put rose quartz crystal at the top, like on the outside of the stove, of course, but sitting on top of the stove, again, to kind of, impart or infuse the baking. But if you guys have been around long enough, but I'll retell the story. So one of the first things I did, so I'm taking a Celtic shamanic class right now. So it's a 1-year course. I graduate in December, actually. But one of our classes, she was talking about, the different types of, magic and, different types of witches and stuff like that. And she mentioned that, baking can be, magic. It can be a spell. And she's like, doing that, there might be a taste difference. And so she's like, you could do an experiment and see. So of course, me being me, I was like, okay, challenge accepted. I'm going to do the experiment. See if it tastes different in or out of ceremony. Yes, exactly, Maria. Baking is alchemy. You got it. So I ended up basically finding a soup recipe. And what I did with the soup recipe is I took the ingredients, cut them in half so that basically each soup was the exact identical amount of ingredients, and then made one normally and then made one in ceremony. So I opened circle and I had a little mini altar set up. I had like a candle lit and all of that. And so I did it, and then I labeled the containers, and I took them with me and had people try it. And there was a taste difference, which was really cool to actually see, a concept in action that, everything else was identical to it, and yet there was a difference in the flavor. People had different preferences based on their tastes, whether they liked the one that was done in ceremony or not, just because one had, a stronger taste than the other. But other than that, yeah, there was a very noticeable difference for people, which was kind of cool. Because, stirring a pot, you're stirring an intention when you're making soup. And, soup, you can have each of the elements. So, when you're baking, the earth can be your vegetables. Stirring it is incorporating the air. The stove, the heat is fire. And then your water, of course, is your broth or your water in your soup. Which, again, I'd never really thought about. I always just loved cooking and baking, never thinking that, it's magic or it's alchemy, and it really is. Yes, it did, Rossi. Yeah, exactly. It had a bit of it was more peppery or more kind of, it was definitely bolder flavors for the one that was done in the ceremony. Almost done here. Almost done cutting up. So yeah, I hope you guys can come in 2 weeks' time and hang out with JJ and I. JJ is from Tuta Speaks, for those that don't know who she is. And she actually speaks a light language, or a language. Tuta is basically her guides that she works with. And they have a special language that they use to communicate. And it's so interesting listening to her speak. Like, I get chills every time I listen to her speak. And I also feel almost like I'm coming home, or it's like I'm coming home when she's speaking. It's a very familiar language for me. And I don't know why necessarily, but it's just so interesting. It's funny too, because I've never met her in person, but she always just feels like a sister almost for me. So maybe we were in a past life or something, who knows. But yeah, I hope to meet her someday in person, that's for sure. I want to give her a big hug. So JJ, if you're watching this at some point, I want to give you a hug. It'd be awesome to meet, like Terry and all them as well. Yeah, you should try it, Rossi. Yeah, you should try it and see if you get the same results that I did. That's right, Randy. Yeah, intention is everything. Exactly. Always. Oh, and actually, I have a funny story about that. So, the soup that I was going to make tonight, if we had time. There we go. Filled the cup. The soup I was going to make, if we had time, I've tried to make it for myself in the past, and it never tastes the same as when my dad makes it. So I always just get him to make it for me. And I think it has to do with that love. Right, Rossi? Yeah, it just feels so familiar. Right, yeah. Randy says, my grandma made food that looked terrible but tasted fantastic. It had to be the love she stirred in. Yes, exactly, yeah. Hi, Tara Token Witchery. Zane, right? Did I get that right? Zane, right? I think I'm remembering properly. If not, let me know. All right, so I'm going to add the dry ingredients. Now we're done with the dry ingredients. You don't want to add them all at the same time, or you're going to kind of overwhelm the mixing bowl and make a giant mess. So what I'm going to actually do is spoon it in a little bit at a time while I have the mixer going. And that way it just incorporates it a little bit nicer. I'm just making sure I get all the stuff off the edge of the bowl. So you don't want to waste any of it. It's going to all be delicious cookies. And eventually I'm going to get my hands in here, but right now I'm just going to get that going. And I'm just going to use the spoon that I was using before, and I'm just going to scoop it in a little bit at a time. We're still going to make a mess anyway, but you know. If you got flour going on, we're going to make a mess. And we're just letting it incorporate a little bit at a time as we're adding. I'm just going to grab a drink of water here. My co-workers tomorrow at work are going to be so excited that they're getting cookies. They don't even know they're getting these cookies. So, because I like to share, and I'm not going to eat them all myself. Oh, good, I nailed it! Yay, I remembered. Thanks for having you hanging out with us. We're just doing some baking today. This isn't my normal show. I normally do chats about different spiritual subjects, you know, woo-woo stuff. But we're just baking today. We're having a down day today. A little bit easier day. Just having some fun baking. Oh no! Deep flavor machine! Oh no! Yeah, that's very true, isn't it, Rossi? There's always that one good. There's always that one that's either a little bit good, a little bit better, a little bit worse. And Gerald showed up. Hey! Thanks for lurking, Gerald. Nice to see you. Hope your show went well. And yeah, if you guys didn't catch it, on Sunday, Gerald and I did readings together with Deb, Purple Elephant. So yeah, go back and watch that if you want. It was a lot of fun. And as Gerald always says, you know, even if you're not getting a personal reading, you can always get a message from somebody else's reading. So. Mm-hmm. Especially with this recipe, this is why I like the KitchenAid, is because it's a very heavy dough. And so the machine kind of takes over, you know, a lot of the like arm workout that you'd have to do otherwise. Maybe I'm just a lazy baker, but I'll let the machine do the hard work. There we go. So the dry ingredients, we're about halfway through adding the dry ingredients here. And I'll hold up the bowl. Once I'm done with the bowl, I'll hold it up so you guys can see what the consistency of the dough is like. And then I'm just going to fold in the candied ginger. So I'm not going to use the KitchenAid for the candied ginger. I'll just use the spatula for that. I hope you guys like my apron. It was actually I used to work at a pet store and I forgot to return the apron. So I just now use it when I bake. Oh no, they were Italian too. Oh no, Moira. That's no good. Yes, that's true. Very true, Randy. Yeah, we tend to eat with our eyes first. So yeah, presentation is key. Or it's a part of it anyway. Oh my gosh, I wish we had smell-o-vision. It smells like Christmas. I don't know if you guys can hear the KitchenAid struggling a little bit with the dough. It's saying, oh, it's so heavy. And now I'm just going to add the last of this in. There we go. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's heavy. It's drying. It's drying so hard. You got a KitchenAid. You can do it. All right. Look at how thick that dough is. Look at it. That dough is thick. All right. Get it off the spatula here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my hands with some soap and water because I'm going to get my fingers in there. I want to make sure my hands are clean. All right. Getting to the exciting part, guys. We're going to be baking them. All right, take this off first. Stick that in there. There we go. I'm gonna get this out of the way just so it's not in the way. All right. Come here, KitchenAid. Oh. It's going to go back in its little special spot back here. There we go. So I always just find it easier just to use my fingers at this point. Also, if you're the chef in the kitchen, feel free to eat the dough on the spatula because, baking tax. I mean, it has raw egg in it, so theoretically you shouldn't eat it, but it's not going to kill you. Live life. Eat some cookie dough. And especially where the eggs were in the fridge, there's not as much risk of salmonella and stuff like that. And we don't want any of this to go to waste. There we go. And then I'll wash this later. I'll do dishes. Or does somebody want to come over and do dishes for me? All right. Rinse my fingers. There we go. And then I'm going to just clean off the side of the bowl here. Make sure I get all of the flour incorporated. And then I will show you what the dough looks like. Because it looks so good. Now, this is my first time baking this recipe. The last couple of times I've made these, I've made them with my mom. So we'll see how they turn out. So I don't know if you can see the dough, but it's super, super thick. Like it's very, very thick dough. Like you can see the consistency there. It's very, very thick dough. It's almost like, I almost want to play with it like Play-Doh. But anyway, I'm going to add the ginger, the candied ginger that I diced up, and I'm just going to stir it in with the spatula here. Oh, it smells so gingery. So I'm just folding it in. And then we'll go over, I'll bring you guys over to the stove. And we'll scoop these out onto the baking sheets. So the oven's set to 350. I preheated it. So the recipe says that we're going to cook them for 10 to 12 minutes if we want a soft cookie, or 15 to 17 minutes if you want a harder cookie. As I stated a little bit earlier, I am a soft cookie girl. So I'm going to cook them for the shorter amount of time. So when it says a range of time, so like this one's 10 to 12 minutes, always start with the 10. Always start with the lower time, check them, see if they're done. If not, cook them for a little bit longer. Every stove is different. But you don't want to just automatically stick it in for the longer time because then you risk overcooking or over baking things. And you don't want that either. All right. And you're going to want like a really strong spatula for this because it is, as I said, a very, very thick dough. It's very, very thick. All right. I'm going to bring the bowl and everything over to the stove, and then I'll come back and grab you guys and bring you a little bit closer. All right. I'm going to clean up a little bit of my mess here too while we're at it. All right. And then I'm going to use a tablespoon measuring spoon to like scoop up my cookies. So, actually, do I want to use this one? No, I'll use that one. That's a stronger cookie scoop. I'm going to make some room for you guys over here, so I got to put this stuff back in the cupboard before I do anything else. Downside of living in an apartment, not a lot of counter space, but it's okay. All right. Moving my kettle back over here so it's out of the way. And cookies are over here. Timer for 10 minutes. All right, I'm coming and grabbing you guys. You're going to come over to the stove with me. Gotta travel. There we go. I think that should be okay. Yeah, there's not too much heat there. We're all right. Okay, yeah. Oh, I'm right. And Moira, you wanted me to try it with the sugar, so I will try it with the sugar. I'll get you a little plate here with some sugar on it. Too much. There we go. You guys didn't see that because my back was to you, but the lid came off the sugar and it almost went everywhere. That would have been interesting. That would have been a little bit of a cleanup. All right. So all I was doing was putting a little bit of sugar on a plate to roll the cookie balls in. Cookie balls. Oh, and then the other thing I'm going to do, so I have some cookie sheets here. I'm just going to get some parchment paper and line the cookie sheets. You can also use silicone baking mats is the other thing you can use. So it really is up to you what you prefer. And I'm just going to cut these down to size. Promise I'm not ignoring you. Uh-oh, my laptop's getting all floury all over it. Eat the dough, right? Yeah. I'll have a little bit at the end there. I want to make sure that I have enough for the cookies. Oh no, never leave out garlic. I agree with you, Moira, there. Oh, that's another way of doing it. Yeah, cutting 2 minutes off the time. Yeah. Yeah, you just want to be really, really careful with your cooking times. There you go, Rossi. Yeah. The holidays is always such a nice time for baking. I mean, I try to bake a chance I can get. I know baking. I find especially baking helps get in the mood. Christmas time, baking always helps me get in that kind of festive mood. All right. Just need to trim the side just a little bit. There we go. yeah, this is just actually Costco parchment paper. So yeah, that's what you're going to use to line your baking sheets. All right, time to scoop some cookies. So the other thing you want to do is make sure that they're evenly spaced out. So I'm gonna just scoop the cookies, and so what I do is I scoop the dough, but then press it up against the side of the bowl so that it's flat. Bowl. And then I'm gonna put it on the cookie sheet. Now, depending on the size of your oven, you may have to do one cookie sheet at a time. I know I can fit two in my oven at a time, so I'm going to do that. What's nice though, like it is a thick dough, but it's not sticky. So that's really nice about this. Make sure these are spaced. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I know this is a little bit of a longer show than normal, but I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you gotta go, but I appreciate you hanging out. So I don't know if you can see there. There you go. I'm kind of spacing them out evenly, just to give them, because what they're gonna do as a cookie, they're gonna kind of go out and then bake. So they are gonna spread. So you want to give them enough room to spread out. You're drilling, Gerald. Oh, yes, Moira. And then let me know how they turn out. I'd love for you to let me know how your baking turns out. Of course, this is the longest part, is scooping out all the cookies. But yeah, once these are in the oven and baking, I will show you guys the decks that I got, because they're really nice decks actually. One of them is an affirmation deck. I saw an ad on Facebook for them actually. I was like, I saw the artwork and thought, oh, these would make great cards for tarot readings. I wonder if they'll work that way. So of course I bought them not knowing if they were actually going to work or not. And they do. I used them in the readings on Sunday and they worked out amazing. It actually kind of shocked me how great they worked as far as delivering messages and complementing the cards that Deb and Gerald pulled. So I'm going to keep using them. Yeah, they're just affirmation cards that you can use for family, just to help. If you're needing a little pick-me-up. So I'm going to lead you down again just so you can see what I'm doing here. So I've kind of spaced them up the side so I know how many rows I'm going to be doing here. Oh, here, yeah. So it's called Dream. Dream is the name of the deck. I'll grab it in a second when my hands aren't dirty, because my hands are covered in ginger cookies right now. But as soon as I get these in the oven, I'll rinse my hands and I'll show you. Gonna have to make you wait on tender hooks. Gonna have to be patient. And the other thing I'm going to do too, once these are in the oven, is grab a cooling rack, because we want our cookies to cool. And actually, I'm going to read the recipe too and see if it has any instructions, because I do know like some cookie recipes or some bread recipes say like let it rest on the sheet first. Yeah, let the cookies rest for 2 minutes on the cookie sheet. And they do freeze really well. That's one of the comments that's on the recipe as well. Is that they freeze really well. So you can make a bunch of them. And if you don't want to eat them all in one go, you can freeze them and then thaw them, and they taste just as good. So we're almost done the one sheet of cookies here. And Moira, I'm going to do the sugar on the next row on the other sheet here. Because, yeah, I just want to, as you said, it'll change the consistency of it. So, or like texture. All right. One sheet down, one to go. Actually, I'm going to space these out a little bit more. I think I am. I'm just worried that they're going to spread a little bit too much, so I'm just going to spread these out on the cookie sheet just a little bit. So instead of doing 5 rows, I'm going to do 4 just to give my cookies a little extra space. All right, so these ones I'm going to roll in the sugar. So I'm going to roll it into a ball first like I have with the others. And then I'm going to just roll it in the sugar on the plate. There. So I don't know if you can see, but I have the sugar on it there. And I'm just going to put them at this end so I know they're the sugar ones. And anybody rewatching, I appreciate you hanging out with me. And if you guys are still here, please remember to like, subscribe, share, do all that fun YouTube-y stuff. I really appreciate it. Because there's a lot of exciting stuff that's going to be happening in the new year with me starting my business. We're also going to have, if you guys watched back, and I think, what was it? Was it October or September? We had Fairy Orbs on. She's going to be back on. We're going to make a Fairy Orb live on the live stream. And then there's going to, if you're there, if you're going to be watching on that live, we're going to put everybody's names that are on the live and do a draw. And somebody is going to win the Fairy Orb that we made. So you're going to want to be around for that. And that may be happening in either January or February. She actually, she just moved, so I'm waiting to hear from her about when she's settled in and ready to go and to do that, but it'll be fun. Her and I had a blast the last time, so I'm sure it'll be fun again. Sure it'll be a blast. Almost done here. Got 3 more balls, 2 more balls now. And then these are going to go in the oven. And I'll show you the deck that I got. Right, there's one and one more. So we still got a lot of dough. So what I'll probably do is bake these. I'll show you what they look like when they're done baking. And then I'll probably let you guys go for the night and I'll finish baking the rest of these. Just because I'm not going to make you hang around for, 3 hours while I finish baking these cookies. I mean, if you want to hang around with me for 3 hours, it's perfect. But I'm not going to make you do that. You guys hang too. Oh, that's a smart idea too, Moira. Ever thought about doing that, like baking the balls and then freezing them before you bake them? Because that would be like a frozen cookie, right? It would be like a Pillsbury, the frozen cookies that you can buy in the grocery store. All right, these are going to go in. They don't slide off the cookie sheet first. To bake, you got to have some humor and sarcasm too, right? All right, there we go. And 10 minutes is on the clock. The final countdown. All right. I'm going to set up a cooling rack here. So, cooling rack. Just that way I can put the cookies on it when it's done. And I got a little flipper here to that. The cookies off the cookie sheets. And the other important thing, of course, is an oven mitt. You don't burn our hands. All right, so the deck, I will show you. I got two. I have two decks. So this is the dream deck that I was just mentioning. So it's the company is called Big Life Journal. So they do journals and stuff like that. 52 beautifully illustrated cards. It actually came with like a card stand as well. I don't use it, but I do have it over there. So maybe at some point in one of my streams, I'll use it. Hi, Karen. Didn't know I was a kitchen witch, but of course. I love cooking and baking. I even have a sign to prove it. Ooh, that's true too. Yeah, you can bake them in toaster oven. So this is the deck. I absolutely love the artwork of this deck. Like the card, absolutely gorgeous. And they all have little sayings on them. Another really, really nice one here. It says, I have the courage to speak up if something doesn't feel right. And it's a child staring into the water, and it's like a tiger staring back at them. And this one has like a panda on it. And they're a really nice size too. They're kind of an like tarot card. So you can like see compared to my hand. And they're nice. They're a nice like cardstock too. Like they're flimsy, but enough, like solid enough you can really, really shuffle them. Like this is another gorgeous one here. I focus on what I can control and let go of the rest. So yeah, I think I might probably do a deck review of this, even though it's not a true oracle deck or anything like that. Oh, this one's cute. It says, my friendships are built on kindness and respect. It's a little girl sitting with some kitties on a swing. Isn't that cute? So yeah, I think I might end up probably doing a deck review with this deck because I think a lot of people would really love using it. It also has some really nice imagery. So like maybe if I have a chance to try out doing Hershey's scavenger hunt, you know, it might be good for some of those prompts. Other deck I got is the Glow Oracle. So this is by Robin Voisey. She's the one that does the Tarot of Oneness and the Oracle of Oneness that's coming out. You might have seen her on Gerald's channel. So this is another one of the decks that she did. And the reason I got this deck, which one, Moira? There's this one, which is the Dream. It's called Dream. Dream Affirmation Cards by Big Life Dream. Is that one. And then this one here is the Glow. In these cards. I don't know what happened there. My internet's cutting out. Sorry, guys. I'm still here. Are you still here? I promise. But yeah, each of the cards has an animal on it. So like that's a peacock, flying squirrel. Again, they're just really, really nice cards. They also have a really nice there's like a nice blue edging, and the backs are really nice too. So yeah, so that's the Glow Oracle. I've before, but yeah, it does, doesn't it, Moira? Really nice deck. I mean, you can kind of see like this is a kind of standard, I guess you call this standard Oracle deck. So you can see the cards are, like the box is a little bit bigger, but the cards are actually the same size as these. The decks or the card, the box is a little bit bigger because it came with the card stand. But as I said, I don't use the card stand very often. But it'll be nice if I'm doing some kind of readings and I need to like show a card and have it sitting there. Oh, do you like it? I've only used it once or twice, but I'm really enjoying it. I did get the Oracle of one, so I'm excited to get that when it comes out. Yeah, there you go. Moira was organizing her spices. Rossi, you need to organize your decks. I can do the Hershey's scavenger hunt together. If you haven't done the scavenger hunt yet, we could team up and do the scavenger hunt together once you get your decks organized. All right, we got 4 minutes on the cookies, guys. 4 minutes. And if I disappear, I apologize. I don't know with the free version if I'm limited to the amount of time I have to stream. I don't know if it tops out at 2 hours or anything like that. We still got about another half hour to go before that is a worry. But if that happens, that happens. And then I thank you guys for sticking around for so long and hanging out with me while I bake. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. I know it's a little bit different than the usual show. But we do have some normal shows coming up 2 weeks' time. JJ from Two to Speak is going to be on. And then 2 weeks after that is Michelle Marie from Astrological Tarot. We're going to be talking about Vedic astrology. So please bring your questions on Vedic astrology to Michelle. So I don't know if we're going to be doing any, kind of Vedic readings, but we're definitely going to talk about the different parts of Vedic astrology and how it works compared to regular astrology. And then right before Christmas, we're going to have an episode on Yule, and I have a couple of special guests that are going to be appearing on that show with me. I'm not going to tell you who just yet, but we have some fun people that are going to come hang out. While those are continuing to bake, I'm just going to clean up my mess here. I mean, you're going to make a mess when you bake, but you try and keep it organized, right? Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the tarot, so I haven't gotten the tarot one, but I mean, I love oracle cards, so I thought I love the artwork of the Tarot of Oneness, so why not get the Oracle of Oneness? I also got, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was one of the Kickstarters that Gerald showed on his channel. It's a tarot deck based on, or an Oracle deck based on like D&D, like the Dungeons and Dragons. And I actually ended up getting it because it's a black and white deck, and all I could think of is like, oh, I want to color this in and make it my own. So I did the Kickstarter, and I'm going to get some really nice like markers, like coloring markers that won't bleed or anything like that. And I'm going to color the decks. So like, sit in meditation, sit and kind of listen to that intuition as to how to color in the decks and do that. So I think that'll be a fun experience to do. Maybe I'll live stream that. Maybe I'll live stream as I work on each card. I could do a couple cards at a time, something like that. So you guys can all be a part of the process. I think that might be fun. All right, 1 minute left. 1 minute, and then we get some yummy cookies, guys. It's gonna be so good. It's going to be delicious. I don't know why I'm singing, but I am. Maybe it's because we have some delicious cookies coming out of the oven. And I'm going to stick the Crisco, the leftover Crisco, in a Ziploc bag here. It's going to go in the freezer. I'm going to label it Crisco so I don't get it messed up with something else. There we go, Crisco. There we go, and then this can go in paper recycling, so I'll be right back. There we go. All right, 12 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. All right, we'll see how these look. Oh, they look so good. All right, I'm going to just check to make sure that they're done. They're still a little bit soft. I think they still need a couple more minutes. Yeah, I can't even lift them off the sheet. I'm going to stick them in for 2 more minutes, so that 12-minute mark. So I think they need just a little bit more time. That's okay. We're going to figure this out. See, but now that I know that those are going to probably take about 12 minutes, I can just stick the next batch in for 12 minutes. So trial and error. Baking's trial and error. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. When the power was out, you colored a lot. Yeah. I actually should try coloring more. I do like drawing and stuff like that, and I am trying to find time to get back to that. But yeah, it's something that's really nice. And they talk about like meditation, sitting in meditation, but coloring can be meditation. If you're quiet and just coloring, it does it's the same as just sitting there and listening to music, I think. And a lot of the time, I find my intuition flows when I'm coloring. Actually, I usually color at the table behind me there, so that's my dining room. And a lot of the times when I'm sitting there, the lights will start flickering. So the energy's flowing. Make the lights flicker. Ooh, Gothic Literature Tarot. I don't know if I've seen that one, Rossi. That sounds it. Right, Karen? Purchase responsibly. So many decks. Oh, the brush markers. Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to be really, really, really picky about what markers I get for this tarot deck because I do not want them to bleed. I want them to be able to dry and not bleed on the cards. I'd hate to get them and then it, be ruined. All right, 17, 16, 15. We'll see what 2 more minutes did to the cookies. They do look really good, though, guys. They turned out really, really nice, and I'll show you as soon as I get them out of the oven here because they're going to need to cool for a little bit, but I'll definitely show you when they're done here. Oh, they're deck reviews. You should check it out. Oh, yeah, I will for sure. Yeah. Ooh. See, this is the other issue with baking and having glasses. Oven fogs up the glasses, and I can't see. I think they're getting there. Hi, Tut. I can probably get those out. Do I do 2 more? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Well, they're looking done. They're looking cooked on the bottom, so I'm going to take them out. They're just going to be soft, which is kind of what we wanted. They did spread out a bit more than I'm used to them spreading out. That's okay. Again, trial, error. Okay, that one got a little bit messed up because of my thumb. That's okay. Right. That'll just be the one I eat, right? Nobody will know any different. So here, I'll show you the cookies. They just came out of the oven. I put them for 2 minutes. So they're going to cool on the cookie sheet for a little bit and firm up. But you can see how delicious they look. Good. You still hear them cooking, actually. Oh, Wuthering Heights. Yeah, I read that in high school. It was a bit of a struggle for me to get through. Yeah, it was good. Right? Don't those look so good? Here, smell. Everybody inhale. Inhale in the astral. Smell the ginger cookies. Oh, that's true, Rossi. Yeah, maybe I might try that. The recipe doesn't call for it, but as I said, my mom it's my mom's recipe. So there's always different things that, you can try. So yeah, you're saying chill the dough, stick it in the fridge for a bit. I might try that next time. The other thing I could do is cook these tonight, stick the dough in the bowl in the fridge, and then make the rest tomorrow. Because it is like 9:30 at night. So yeah, I think actually, Rossi, I will take your idea and do that. I'll just put some saran wrap on top of these and stick the dough in the fridge. And then make the rest of these tomorrow when I get home from work. Because these are definitely enough that I can bring them to work and people at work can have them. So that was one round of cookies. So that made what? 24 cookies? And you can see there's still a lot of dough left. So you could definitely probably get 48 cookies out of this easily. But yeah, Rossi, I'm going to take a hand out of your book there, your idea, and stick the rest of this in the fridge. And then what I'll do too is let you guys know how they turned out with them being in the fridge. Actually, I'm going to just... So a friend of mine actually got me these. So they're like bowl covers, reusable bowl covers. And this one has a cat on it. I'm going to use that to cover the bowl. Because it should be big enough. It is. Look at it. There. So the cat's going to protect our dough in the fridge. Now I just got to find room in my fridge. I got no room in my fridge. There we go. I have a giant jug of apple cider in my fridge. So we have a local farm that makes apple cider, but the last day that they're open is Halloween. And so I bought the biggest jug of apple cider that they have, but it takes up like half my fridge. It's basically the same size as the KitchenAid bowl, but it's such good apple cider. All right, so we're going to take the cookies and cook them on the cookie sheet. Oh yeah, and they firmed up nice. They firmed up nice after they cooled down there a bit. Yeah, that was 12 minutes. Oh, they're so good. They smell so good, guys. I'm going to turn off the oven for now, since I'm not going to make the rest of these right away. But here. So here's one of the cookies. Of course, I put my thumb through it trying to take it out of the oven. I did, Moira. I actually, because I bought one jug to drink and I bought another jug to freeze. So here, I'll show you real quick. So I actually froze them in bags. So I can also, I also love using it. So when I cook ham and stuff like that in a slow cooker, I'll put some of the apple cider in the bottom of the slow cooker when I'm doing the ham and then use it to baste it. And oh my God, it tastes so good. But I'm going to maybe do ginger cookies and apple cider when I get off from you guys there. Have some apple cider, have a ginger cookie. But just to show you. So this is, I did what, 12 minutes I think we ended up doing there. So this is, so you can see from the bottom that it's cooked. It's nice and solid there. But are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for the money shot? Oh, look at that. Look how soft those are. Doesn't it look so good? So good. And there's a little pieces of candied ginger in there. Fantastic. So thank you for hanging out with me, guys. I'm sorry I can't like immediately transport all these cookies to you guys so you can each have one yourself. But I'm going to post the recipes, so if you want to make them yourself, please go ahead and feel free. Yeah, for sure, Rossi. I'm going to post it in the description of the video. I don't know if we'll be able to do that tonight, but I definitely will first thing in the morning. When I get to work, I'll pull the recipe up from my email and paste it into the description for you guys. Yeah, and then you can try the recipe yourself. I'm looking for, here. So Moira, you were asking about the sugar cookie one or the sugar coated one. So I don't know how well you can tell on the camera, but they're just that little bit more shimmery. There's a little bit of more of a kind of a sugar coating, but there really isn't much of a difference otherwise. I'll have to see if there's a taste difference, but yeah, there's not much of a difference between the two that I can really see. Like these are the sugar ones. Don't know how well you'll be able to see. So sugar one. So it really isn't, other than you can see there's a little bit of like shininess from the crystallized sugar. And let you know what I think. But everybody have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with me for so long. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did enjoy it, please leave a comment, like the video. I'm hoping to maybe do another cooking video episode live in the new year. Maybe make soup next time, something savory. If you guys enjoyed doing this. But yeah, thanks, and hope you guys all have a great, great night. That's true, Rossi. Yeah, maybe a thicker, like not finer sugar, the opposite of finer. More granulated sugar maybe would work better, yeah. Actually, I do have like sugar sprinkles here. I could have tried too. Left over from making a friend's cake. They're like a purple sugar. So that might be something to try too, is see how the purple sugar turns out. Maybe I'll make some tomorrow with the purple sugar just for fun. But yeah, hope you guys have a great night. Sleep well. And I'll see you in 2 weeks when JJ's on the show. Talk to you later. Bye.